From Studio 1A in Tampa, Florida, comes a talk show that really feels your pain and tells you like it is. We love America and all that freedom-loving Americans want to protect. Live from coast to coast and on your radio, it's For the People with Keith Allen.
We'll help you survive this thing called life. We're for the people. Whatever your source of stress or strife, for the people is there.
We made it. It's Friday. It's For the People. I'm Keith Allen on this September the 15th, 2017. Appreciate you tuning in. We got a lot of news to talk about. Of course, North Korea decides they want to launch another missile and really scare the bejeebies. I love that word, the bejeebies, my mother used to say. I think my father actually used to say that, the bejeebies, out of folks in a very negative way, really, in Japan, because those alarms that were going off really scared people. The local news reports over there. Can you imagine? Over here, telling you to take cover, incoming missile, not knowing whether or not that the country was under attack. How would you feel? I mean, people were scared along the coast for Irma, but how much more anxiety, how much more fear in people's hearts, literally, knowing that a bomb, a missile, a nuke could be hitting them, especially after the rhetoric of Kim Jong-un saying that he was going to make them ash. Japan. And, of course, America, a fiery inferno. This missile, by the way, that I'm talking about, I was waiting for my tire to be repaired, and I get these news alerts on my cell phone like many of you, and my first thought was my brother. He lives over there in Japan, and I wondered what he was thinking. This missile is being deemed one of the country's longest ever test flight of a ballistic missile, sending an intermediate range weapon hurtling over U.S. ally Japan into the Pacific Ocean. I'm so glad that it did land in the Pacific Ocean. But this is definitely a signal of defiance and really a big technological advance, wouldn't you say? Further, this missile could go to Guam, as promised. They are not liking the squeeze with the United Nations. Some say it's not going to do anything, and I thought about the flights that go into Pyongyang, their international airport. I mean, they could get all the food just flown in. Forget about the barges, and forget about the other people. Do you really think he cares about his people? He cares about his military. So just as long as he and his military get fed, they'll be fine. He doesn't care about the citizens over there, the robots anyway. So is the military at that, but that's who he cares about. Now, you remember President Donald Trump, he threatened the North with fire and fury in August. But Pyongyang has conducted its most powerful nuclear test, threatened to send missiles into the waters around the U.S. Pacific Island territory of Guam, launched 2 missiles of increasing range over Japan. July saw its first test of intercontinental ballistic missiles that could strike deep into the U.S. mainland when perfected. The growing frequency of power and confidence, ladies and gentlemen, displayed by these tests seem to confirm what governments and outside experts have long feared. North Korea closer than ever to its goal of building a military arsenal. They can verbally target both U.S. troops in Asia and U.S. homeland. What do you think about this, folks? As an American, I am nervous about it. I'm concerned about it, and I'm just wondering, how many more are we going to let go by? How many more will Japan, South Korea, Guam. How many more will go by over the countries before somebody shoots this thing down? You know the story, you've probably heard it a few times, but the boy who cried wolf, I kind of think that that's what's happening here. He's going to launch it, it's going to go to the ocean. Launch it, it's going to go to the ocean. Launch it. What happens when one launches, it doesn't go into the ocean? What happens? Exactly. I don't know what the strategy is at the Pentagon. I know there's a lot of options that are on the table being looked at. The president knows what they are. When and how and where, and there's a lot of scary scenarios. But what's scarier is one of these reaching the U.S. mainland. Scary to know that we have U.S. troops 30 miles from the DMZ. They could be killed. South Korean folks could be killed. Radioactivity could be spilled into the Asian Pacific. It's just a mess over there, and to blame for this. Oh, to blame for it. Obama for sure. It just goes back from Obama, though. You can't just blame him. The Bushes. Clinton can be blamed for this. I mean, it just goes kicking the can, and it's a known fact. We've done this, and with briberies, we've been giving him money. That's in essence what Obama did to Iran. And you see how well that's working. You think that they've changed their tune? You think they're going to do something different? Not a chance. They're more defiant than ever, and you know what? They're watching. They're watching from Iran. They've helped develop what the North has. They're good friends. They believe death to America. They chant death to America. They're allies. And China, I don't trust at all. I don't trust the leadership of communist China. As a matter of fact, I don't like them. Some people say we need them. We only need them because of the free traders that traded us out, all in the name of prosperity for all. You think that made mainstream prosperous? Has your paycheck increased? No, it has not. One of the biggest fears from the Clintons, when Chuck Harder was on the air, he kicked off an initiative called Project USA. You may remember it. He had a catalog and everything, all made USA products, made in the USA, and they were everything you could, television sets, radios, good stuff, clothing, everything you could imagine we made over here. But as long as we do business with China, folks, we're going to be we're having to give in and support a country that treats their people inhumanely, trades their people out, makes deals with the other communist countries, and the work conditions over there are sweatshops. But we still buy the products because we want them cheap. Folks, cheap has cost us. And politically speaking, it's been a bad deal altogether. And I think there will be, I predict, a trade war with China because they will not cooperate. They could nip this in the bud. They could nip this with North Korea. They could do more, and they're not. But China should be very concerned because it will affect them economically in many different ways. You know what they're really worried about? And they've made it known, the refugees. They don't want an influx of Koreans coming in over the border. That's their main concern. But their economy ticks along very nicely when we're getting along nicely. Donald Trump's a deal maker. Here's an opportunity for him to make a deal with China stopping everything going into North Korea, because I can tell you through satellite imagery, the Pentagon's very well aware of this. There's still shipments going in. They've limited oil because he really needs it. Of course he does. But they need to do more. Why don't we just shut it down and stop it? Stop the machine. Stop them from being able to make electricity. Really bring them to their knees. There's an emergency session going on at the UN today, and they're talking about just that. And I hope China gets on board, because this is endangering the whole peninsula. These people are relentless, and for whatever reason, the North Koreans believe that this is the only way to ensure their survival with having a nuclear program, and that the world should just let them do what they do. And I'm here to say, folks, if you allow a nuclear-armed North Korea, you're going to say goodbye to a lot of countries that will be in ash, because they will use them. And they'll use it to bribe people, which they've already done, to use people. And Iran is watching. How will the world handle this? A lot of people think that no matter what sanctions are instituted by the UN, it will not stop a relentless dictator, Kim Jong-un, and his regime, his entire regime, from doing what they want to do. And when they hit something, how will we react? What will we do? What are the plans? I think that a lot of congressmen need to start asking those questions. There needs to be more than just a UN meeting. I think the world needs to be put on alert. Oh, when and if and all that stuff, we're not going to be like Obama and tell him when we're going to go ahead and unleash wrath. But I'm afraid to say that we're going to have to bomb them and the hell out of them so swiftly, so strategically, that the whoop-ass stuff that we have in our arsenal that average people have no idea. We have stuff that rivals, and we don't have to use nukes. We can knock out their power grid. It's not just with an EMP, something like it. We've tested it out in the desert. There's things that we can do to cripple them. Yes, but they can use conventional weapons. We understand the conventional weapons. We understand that very much so. If you do any research, there is that danger there. But it's going to, remember the shock and awe when we went into Iraq? It's something of that magnitude to cripple them so badly, so hard, they're not going to know what the hell hit them. It's going to have to be something like that. And then you better believe that there will be a regime change. And that's what he's afraid of. But what he doesn't realize is that he's asking for it. This is going to backfire on him. You want to ensure his legacy, the family dynasty? Oh, wait a second. He killed his uncle. He killed his brother. Oh, but he has children. Oh, they could, through the bloodline. Well, hopefully he lives long. I think he's got shingles really bad. Yeah, that's a tough thing. You got shingles? That's rough, man. Yeah, seafood, you got to stay away from it. There's certain triggers.